Hey everyone, what is going on? Miles Archer Live, and in today's video, I'm going to be bringing you guys an update on the What's Next for Payday 2 on Consoles video. So that's an update on basically what's happening in 2018 for console versions of Payday 2, so Xbox One and PS4, what DLC we can expect, and how things have changed since the last time I did this video in 2017. I will just quickly say before I start, if my voice sounds a little bit weird, I'm not sure whether it will or not. I kind of feel a bit dodgy. I've had a bug for the last few days. I think I've come over it now, but I just thought I'd say it because I'm not quite sure. My voice feels a bit weird, like my throat feels a bit strainy, so apologies for that. But yeah, I will label the old video now as outdated. This is a complete, fully updated version because everything that I said in What's Next for Payday 2 in the last video, we now have, apart from a couple of things which we should have had that we haven't. It's confusing, I'll get into it now. So before we talk about what's come out on PC since the last video, let's talk about what's missing from the game that we really should have had in terms of chronology by now. And that's 2, maybe 3 things depending on how you look at it. First off, the safe house from Hoxton's housewarming party in October 2016. I really kind of have to admit I am disappointed we didn't get that in the Master Plan update. It is really annoying, I've got to be honest, but Overkill came out and they mentioned it, and the other thing we're missing, Crime Spree, very specifically, and said the only reason it's not in the last update is because it takes a lot more work to port that stuff over. And especially for the safe house, you've got to think there's the safe house, there's all the side jobs that help you get upgrades and Continental coins and stuff like that. There's the Continental coins themselves, how they work, and then how they apply into the game, how you earn them and all that. There's probably a lot behind the scenes to build up that and structure it so it works. And because the console versions flow very differently to PC in terms of coding and whatnot, that Overkill have said in the past, probably makes it a lot more difficult to port that stuff over. So I would like to think that they did quite a lot of the work on it, but just didn't think it was feasible to keep us waiting another few months just to put those in, and figured we may as well put out an update since we've got a bunch of DLC ready. That's how I'd like to think is what happened, but the safe house is probably the biggest thing that Payday 2's seen in recent years. It was a huge update and it brought so many people back, and so many people finally got what they wanted, which was a new safe house where you could actually customize it. Even though the customization is a very loose thing, because it was more linear upgrades that you couldn't pick from. It was like, oh, you have to upgrade to level 2 of this room, level 3 of this room, oh, bam, it's done. And you do it to all the different rooms. So, not purely custom in the way that you can pick from different choices, but I don't know, it's better than nothing, and it was really good from what I've seen. I remember watching the streams when it came out, and, well, if we don't get it this time, it's going to be really stupid, so I would say it's a dead given we're going to get that, along with Crime Spree, which is the other thing that we didn't get, which was part of the Search for Kento event in spring 2017. For both of those events, Hoxton's Housewarming and Spring Break Search for Kento, we've got everything from those events apart from these 2 things. Crime Spree, for those of you who didn't watch the last video, is basically, I'll use the same metaphor that I used last time, it's like an arcade machine. You keep playing heists in a specific chain. You don't get any rewards until the chain ends, and the chain only ends when you cash out your rewards, or if you fail a heist and you choose to quit and save your progress, and that's it, done, finished. You can pause the Crime Spree partway through if you want to take a break, so there's no worry there, but basically until you cash out you don't get any rewards. But the longer you go, A, the more difficult it gets, but B, the better the rewards are, and you can get armor skins and stuff like that were brought out at the same time. So there's quite a lot to it, but again, that wasn't released, but in terms of chronology we should have got it, because both of these came out before the Sangres character pack, and Sangres is the most recent thing that was released on PC that we now have on consoles. So it was like the safe house was what, if it was October, 7 months late, so we've gone 7 months past the safe house in terms of DLC updates, and about 1 or 2 months past Crime Spree, so both of those are Jim. The third thing that I wasn't sure whether to mention here or in a minute is the Team AI and the Henchman customization in general, because what was released during the Search for Kento, because I didn't quite get my facts right in the last video, was that it was the Team AI beta. So it was kind of an unfinished version of the Henchman AI update, where you can pick what masks your AI heisters have, what weapons they wield, although it literally really yields no difference apart from cosmetic from what I've heard. And also they can give you passive and active boosts like faster interaction speed, stuff like that. But it was only fully released as an update, I've now read on the Steam forums. It was only fully released after Sangres. So I can't really blame Overkill for, being behind with that, because technically they weren't. It was more like they put a beta out in Search for Kento and then finished it off later on. So in terms of what to expect that was released on PC after Sangres, that's the first thing to expect, Team AI. So those are the 3 main things that I think we have to see in this update. And everything I'm going to follow on from now is all the stuff that's been released after that. And the thing to note is everything I'm going to mention in this video is free except for one thing, which is the H3 character pack, we won't go into that just yet. We shall leave that for a little bit longer before we can have a debate about that. But next up are a few small, tiny things that were released over the summer period, which are the Matryoshka grenade, I hope I pronounced that right, and the Golden Dallas and Chains masks. They were released for special milestones. First off, for Payday reaching 5 million players was for the Golden Dallas mask, and also when they made Payday free for a period of time on PC because of the 5 million landmark, it became like the top 5 games played in the day. I can't remember, the name they gave the award was so strange. It was something like at any one point in the day that was in the top 5 of games being played at that moment or something, and it had never happened before. But they released the Golden Dallas mask for that, and the Matryoshka grenade, and then Golden Chains mask came out for the 4-year anniversary in August 2017. So those are three things to expect. I can't even count. Forgive me. I am terrible at maths, even though I'm studying it in a degree. After that, you've got the desync beta and desync fixes. Now, this is a dodgy thing because if you read the patch notes for the master plan update, it says that multiple desync fixes were implemented in that update. So, and I personally think the desync has improved, but I don't think it's perfect. It's far from it. So maybe they put some of the beta stuff in and not all of the desync fixes. It's a bit of a grey area. I'm not quite sure how they can fix it on consoles, again, because coding and how the way the game flows and everything is so different between console and PC that it might not take the same thing to fix it on console as it does PC. I have no idea of the technical standpoint. I don't work with Overkill. I'm not affiliated with Overkill, so I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So whether or not they'll add more desync fixes is very much up in the air. I don't really know, but that was happening around this time, so it's something to consider. And then after that, we've got one of 2 free events. Now, this one I hadn't really touched on in the past because it's not major, but it's Old Stone's Heritage. And it was a special 3-day event, although most of the stuff came out in day 1, honestly. And what it focused on was a Payday 2 tie-in with Raid World War II. Because Overkill at one point called Raid World War II the spiritual successor of Payday 2. I don't agree with that at all. Honestly, since I did that review video, I haven't touched the game, so yeah, I'm happy with Payday 2, thanks. Either way, moving on, day 1 added a bunch of new weapons and also a new room in the safe house, and here's where things get difficult, because if they want to add Old Stone's Heritage in its complete, full, packaged, finished product, they're going to have the safe house in. So another reason why the safe house has got to be here for the next update. But they added the MP40S submachine gun, the Parabellum pistol, which I think it's not the Mauser because that's already in Payday 2. I can't remember. It might be the 1911, but I haven't seen it for a while, so I can't remember off the top of my head. And then the Gallant rifle, which I'm pretty sure is the M1 Garand. 3 very decent weapons, as well as some melee weapons, knuckle daggers and push daggers, but melee weapons are all just reskins of one another, so that doesn't bother me too much. And then, as I've already mentioned, Old Stone's safe house room is also added, Old Stone being the butler of the safe house, for anyone who doesn't know, because both him and the control, like, head office dude in Raid World War II are both portrayed by John Cleese, the famous comedian who many of you, most of you, some of you, none of you will know. I don't really know which word best fits, but I know of him. So they kind of did a relation thing where it was like the control guy in Raid World War II is Old Stone's grandfather, maybe great-grandfather. I think it's grandfather though. But that's by the by, that's just a bit of lore for you. Day 2 was quite simply just a World War II mask pack, so some like World War II based masks, an armor skin workshop, and World War II weapon and armor skin safes respectively. Out of those 4 things, obviously on console we're only going to get 1, which is the mask pack. Because the Weapon Skin Workshop is on PC, but that's really using Photoshop, which I don't know whether I need to say it, but you can't really use Photoshop on an Xbox or a PS4. And then on top of that, the safes. We've been through this debate before. I did a video on it. For any of you who don't know, I have done a video debating whether or not we'll get the Black Market update, and I said in that I don't think we will, but feel free to watch it to find out why. I'll leave a link to it in the description. But yeah, so out of those, the only thing we're going to get from Day 2 is the World War II mask pack, so you know, not fab, but it's free, so who can complain? And then Day 3 is just another mask pack, and it's the 4 main character masks from Raid World War II. Don't ask me to name all 4 of the characters, because I can't even remember their names, I'm that bad. I know there's Kurgan and Sterling, I can't remember the other 2, or there's a Wolfgang. The American one, who knows, I can't remember. But there you go, so that's the Old Stone event. As I said, most of it's in Day 1, and it's focused on the weapons, at least for me. The safe house room, I don't know whether that does much for the game, and the mask packs, yeah, I don't know, maybe, might use them, might not, honestly not too sure, but either way, like I said, free stuff, you can't argue. And then we're moving on to Lock and Load, which is Crime Fest 2017, arguably one of the most underwhelming ones in one way, but in another way, I don't know, it's difficult, because they followed the same like kind of flow and release schedule that they did with the Search for Kento, which was every other day they didn't put anything out for the game, they just did filler. Like they did Paper Gang for Search for Kento, which is like how to make little paper models of heisters and enemies and stuff like that. This time they went for AMAs on Reddit, they went for updates on the VR beta for Payday 2, and Crime War, the mobile game that's coming out, as well as the Switch version. None of them really said anything we didn't already know, so it was pretty much filler, but that's, I mean, they didn't want to do updates every day. For those of you who don't know why that was, it was because people were constantly complaining about the fact that every day they had to update their game for Payday, so Overkill kind of went, okay, we'll do 5 of the 10 days, and then you only have to update your game once every 2 days. So they've continued with that flow, but stuff to look forward to. Day 1 we saw Storyline, or story mode, should I say, which was like a way of ordering the jobs in Payday, so they were in kind of chronological order. I don't really think it served much difference. You can play through it, but it's all heists you've done before, so it might just be a fresh way to play them, but nothing new. And the Pixel Masks, which is kind of like 8-bit versions of Dallas, Chains, Houston, and Wolf's Masks. Day 3 saw an achievement overhaul, including 300 new achievements on PC. On Xbox One and PS4, we don't have nearly as many achievements as there are on PC, but you would at least hope that a bunch of those are going to come over, so even 100 would be ridiculous, but like 50 of them maybe is probably feasible to look at. They also added a normal skull, so if you complete every heist on normal, you get the normal skull. If they don't fix the skulls on console, and I still don't think they have on the Master Plan update, I haven't had any evidence to prove they haven't fixed it, but I just don't feel like they've addressed the issue. And on top of that, loading screen hints. So when you're loading up a heist now, you can see little tips in the bottom of the screen, because that's really useful. No, all jokes aside, that is pretty cool if you want to know more about Payday lore. But either way, that's all we got for day 3. I can't count, I'm losing track. Day 5 was the Alaskan Deal heist, where should I go into lore for spoilers? I won't, because there'll be someone out there who goes, oh, you spoiled the story for me. So there's the Alaskan Deal heist, a job for Locke. And then you've also got the Grim 12-gauge shotgun, which has an akimbo variant called the Brothers Grim, which on 1 down is pretty beastly, even though the damage looks really underwhelming. And then on top of that, you can change the colour of your laser on your gun. So if you had 10 laser on it, it's not green anymore. You can have like red and blue and whatnot. You can pick between them. You know, little small thing, but it probably will appeal to quite a few people out there. Like, it's maybe a little niche thing. Day 7, we've got Duke, who is the final character that we don't have on console. We have every single character in the game now, except for Duke, because he's literally only just been added a few months ago. He is the character who was created during the Search for Kento, because Overkill went, right, using Paper Gang, make a heister, and we'll put him in the game. And the winner was August. They've changed the name to Duke for reasons unknown. It's a bit like with Black Ops 3, why they changed the Arc 7 to the KM44 between the beta and the full game. It's one of those of life's mysteries in video games. You never know why, but they did it. The Stoic perk deck is his perk deck, which is using a hit flask. That means you only take 25% of the damage that you are dealt to by cops, and the other 75% is applied over time, but if you drink from the hit flask, it all gets negated, and you can actually get some back on top if you have the perk deck maxed out. It's a pretty beast perk deck, and it's one that I'm really interested to give a go of, but obviously you'll only get it when it arrives. And then his signature weapons are the cross-kill guard pistols, which are, as the name would suggest, akimbo. I think you can have a normal variant, a single secondary, but I haven't seen it, so I'm just making a presumption there. But they just seem like a reskin of some other pistols, so there's nothing special there, just kind of, they're there is weapons, go with it. And then day 9 was the Diamond Heist, which is the original Diamond Heist from Payday the Heist. It's the final heist to cross over. I did a video on it a few months ago when it was first teased, and it's the only heist that wasn't transferred onto Payday 2 from the original game, except for No Mercy, but that's a dodgy one because that was done in a crossover with Left 4 Dead. So I don't really see them bringing that back over. People have done mods restoring the heist, but I don't know whether they'll touch it. I feel like they've done all they want to do with Payday the Heist now. They've done all the classic heists, so I personally can't see it. I think this will be the last one. But the Diamond Heist is another one like Greenbridge. We have custom outfits, so it's like a dark kind of, I think it's a t-shirt or tank top with like dark body armor. It's really weird, but it looks really cool, so that's something else to look forward to. And that is Lock and Load. Not loads to it, but it's all free stuff, as I've said before. You can't really argue. Honestly, what would you expect more? I don't know, 2 heists, a character, and a few weapons. It's pretty good. I think that's in terms of what we've had in the past and the disaster that was Crime Fest 2015. I think 2017, on reflection, isn't too bad. Moving on, there's only a few things left to cover. Halloween update introduced the new Halloween heist, Cursed Kill Room. Not the best Halloween heist there's ever been. It's more about being focused in a giant box and doing more challenges to fight the Necro Cloaker, the giant cloaker that's about as tall as the BFG. And also they brought back the Safe House Nightmare heist, which is probably, I think, the fan favourite Halloween heist that's ever been released for Payday 2. And after Halloween, they were both made playable all year round on PC. But that's one time that console players have one up on PC, because all the Halloween heists are available all year round for us anyway. They have been for a bit, at least the ones that we had, because we had Lab Rats and now we've also got Prison Nightmare. So these two will be added on and that'll be more things to play through. So that's, you know, it's all good. It's good stuff. And then we come on to H3H3. Like it or lump it, it's coming, and it's a paid DLC pack. It's $5, £4, €5, I think are all the price tags. The money all goes to H3H3 on PC. I presume the same thing will happen for console, except Microsoft and Sony are obviously going to want a cut of the DLC, because, you know, the way it works with Steam with Valve is different on PC. So honestly, I don't really know what's going to happen there. They'll still charge the same amount, I think. It'll just be that less will go to H3H3, because Microsoft and Sony probably aren't as kind and generous as Valve are. They probably want more of a cut, but that's by the by. So it comes with both Ethan and Healer, the main two characters of H3H3, the people who make the channel, the husband and wife. Comes with the Tag Team perk deck, where it's all revolving around vaping. I don't even want to go there, I just don't. And then there's the airbow weapon, which is basically a bow that's like kind of almost electric, but not quite, and it can have 6 rounds in a magazine at once. It was nerfed soon after, but it's still one of the best weapons in the game. It's pretty damn good. So there's that, but that worries me, because it feels like most people will buy it just for the airbow, which, you know, isn't fab, but I don't really know what to say. Personally, my opinion, there's too many memes. I don't mind having memes and like pop culture references. For instance, Sydney. I know she's my favourite character, but this is just an example. Sydney will talk about Jared Leto being the Joker for Suicide Squad, because she came out before Suicide Squad did. She talks about the season finale of The Walking Dead, which I think was the season 6 finale at the time. And even Jimmy talks about David Bowie dying and how he's like, it's really bad that David Bowie passed away. They've done pop culture references in the past, but Ethan is just a meme fest. Pretty sure Healer is too, but I've heard Ethan's lines and I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to ring up the control on a pager and say, do you want to do vape-offs? I just don't really want to do that. Some of his lines are funny, I'll give you that, but too many of them are memes. And Healer, she's a quiet person on H3H3, she doesn't say loads, but I'm just not a fan of her voice acting. It's nothing against her, it's just neither of them have had much experience in it, and I personally am not major on that, so I think Ethan's the favourable character, even though he looks ridiculous. I like how Healer is more kind of smart and sharply dressed with her suit. Ethan doesn't even have a tie, or does he? I can't even remember, because all I can remember is the huge double chin. That's no offense to him, it's just the way they did the character model in the game. I mean, you know, it's not exactly the most professional looking thing, but hey-ho, that's H3H3 in a nutshell. They're both mad people. Either way, moving on, final 2 heists to be added to Payday 2. We have Reservoir Dogs and the Brooklyn Bank Heist. Reservoir Dogs came with the Union 5.56 rifle. Honestly, the best story event in Payday 2. I won't spoil it again, but it was really good, and I'm excited to see how it plays out on console. And also, the big LMG buff. LMGs are finally what they should be. High damage, high dealing weapons with much more ammo in the clip, which makes them a different alternative to assault rifles that are actually viable on 1 down now. You can actually use them, and they're really powerful. So having that over onto the console versions will be a godsend, because I like LMGs, but I just haven't been able to touch them, because even with all the skills and sorted in the right way, they just don't feel powerful enough. And then after that, the Brooklyn Bank Heist, which was released at Christmas, along with the compact 40mm grenade launcher, which I looked at the stats, has 1300 damage. I'm pretty sure it's the same as the China Lake, but I might be wrong. I haven't checked the stats up. I think it's at least similar. But the Brooklyn Bank Heist, we got another bank heist. I was hoping we'd get one more for Payday 2, honestly. They might get another one yet, but it's good because I like when you do different banks. It's like the same goal, you're breaking the bank vault, you get the money. I love the classic feel to that, but I like it when we have a new map to do it in. So that's another good one. But that covers it. That is everything we're going to get. So in reflection, you've got the Team AI update, the Safe House, Crime Spree, Old Stones Heritage, Lock and Load, and then Halloween, H3H3, Reservoir Dogs, and the Brooklyn Bank Heist. Now let's talk about dates. So I said about how the Big Score took well over a year to release. It was like a year and 4 months, was it? Year and 5 months? It was something like that. It was over 400 days, I know that. Then Most Wanted took 9 months after Big Score came out to release. and Master Plan only took 5. So the time between, you know, an update to Payday 2 and the DLC releasing has constantly been decreasing, which corresponds to the statement they made a while ago about working on a system to increase the frequency of updates. So what I would like to say is we could expect 5 months again, or maybe less. And I'm being really kind of dodgy there because I don't want to say it and be wrong, because I'd hate to make people think that DLC is coming sooner than it is, because that's a real bummer, and I hate it when I get told that by other YouTubers, and I'm like, yeah, I know I shouldn't trust you, but you kind of said it, you kind of got my hopes up, and I was like, could be feasible. So I would like to think June. Well, actually, no, because I mean, if it came out in, I'm thinking about dates right now. If the Master Plan DLC came out in late November, which I'm pretty sure was the date, we could be looking at about March time, March or April, as a possible release time, but it could be earlier. I don't really know. It's very hard to pin, but I can't see them taking longer to release another update. And in terms of what they put in the update, I honestly would be surprised. I'm going to say it, and it's going to sound really ballsy, but I kind of think all of the stuff we have right now could go into one update. I said to you guys in the last video that I think the amount of DLC that was released could be put into 2 updates, and they would do one in late 2017, then the next one in 2018. They put it all in one update. Everything, apart from the Safe House and Crime Spree, obviously, and Team AI. But they put it all together and did it in one update, so if they can do it before, they can do it again. So I would like to think everything I've seen here will be out around Easter time. It's a very ballsy play because I don't want to be wrong about it, and I don't want to tease you guys and make you think that it's coming sooner than it is. But I honestly don't think that it's too unreasonable to say that. So there you go. That is all the DLC, and I want to have a conversation with all of you down in the comments. Let me know what you're looking forward to and which bitch you aren't looking forward to. Have a debate, maybe even about H3HD. What do you think about that DLC pack? Because I could go on about that for ages. I've seen quite a few videos on it. My favourite's got to be Connor Shaw's, for any of you who watch his videos. I know he was very, very critical about it, and I know he said afterwards that he thought he kind of was too much of a rant about it and wasn't as scripted as he could have been. Personally, a lot of the stuff he said resonates with me. I'm not going to lie, I don't think he needed a script for it. Not everything I agree with, granted, but some of the stuff where it's like, I feel like it was too memey and it wasn't law friendly, because literally Ethan and Healer, their character descriptions are, they're YouTubers with a lawsuit. In real life, they're YouTubers who had a lawsuit. I just don't like the way it doesn't have its own law. But either way, that's by the by. So, down in the comments, talk to me about what you guys think. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. And as always, hit me up on Xbox One if you want to play sometime. A few people have asked me and I've said I would. Honestly, I just haven't been on Payday as much recently. Things have been pretty stressful. I've been enjoying my Christmas break with my mates. So, I apologise for that, but I'm always happy to play Payday 2, so send me a message on Xbox at RedArcherLive with spaces, capitals don't matter on Xbox. So just basically what you see in my YouTube name is the exact same for my gamer tag. Hit me up, ask me to play, and I actually might do some sub games soon. I might record what I play with subscribers, but that's a little bit of a grey area. I still need to work out some things with that, but it's more than possible. So I'll keep it out there, I'll keep it as an offer, and you guys can say what you think. Other than that, thank you all very, very much for watching this video. Subscribe if you are new, and guys, I will see you all in the next video. Take it easy.